Welcome to this week's episode of Not So Christian Brothers. I'm so cold. I'm here in Greystones. I'm keeping everything. Well, I'm keeping the show going from here. The brothers, the Not So Christian Brothers, Colm Hayes and Justin Caffrey, are with their families, living it up in Miami for this week's show. So over to them.
Thanks, Bex. Yeah, here we are in Miami.
Yes.
And it is warm.
It's very warm, isn't it?
Very warm. And we actually had the coldest day of the year in Miami. Like the coldest day, I think, in a December, which was 2 days ago. And it went down to, I think, maybe like 18 degrees. And there was an article in the paper online where somebody was talking about how terrible it was and how cold it was and how Miami folks were struggling. And there was a man interviewed who said he still managed to get out though and walk his dog, even though it was that cold.
It was like what? How many degrees?
18 degrees.
I remember years ago being in Dubai with the kids. The kids are over there actually at the pool, but they're not kids anymore. And we were in February and it was about 22 degrees, right? And the water was okay and we were in swimming and people were stopping and staring and pointing at us. Going, who are these mad people in the water? This is ridiculous, you know?
Yeah.
It is strange. Actually, so I've come from two different, completely different temperature zones. This is like a State of the Union, how the US is at the moment. And it can be, you sort of quantify it by your travels. So we flew into New York, into JFK, which was just crazy, and a great run across with the Uber. So you're coming across Brooklyn and into Manhattan at night. And if you were to do anything in New York, again, this could be like a travel video, we could be challenging our friends, the two girls that do the travel.
Yeah.
If you do anything...
2 gas tickets.
If you
haven't checked out that podcast, check it out.
2 gas tickets, yeah. If you do anything in New York, walk the Brooklyn Bridge, because it's just amazing. But Holly was telling me there was a thing went on TikTok to say, and it was just one guy started it, but it didn't happen, to say that there was going to be a firework display on Brooklyn Bridge at midnight. So the bridge was jammed 2 nights ago, and they counted down and everything, and nothing happened because it was just a TikTok thing. It was just made up.
Nice.
But yeah, Brooklyn Bridge is worth it. But we were talking about the prices. Like down here in New York, it is so expensive. I can't get over the prices.
Yeah, but I think everybody is feeling the pinch.
Same parents, different timelines, and united by chaos. Strap on, strap in, for the not-so-Christian brothers.
The cost of living crisis, it's here, it's in Ireland, it's in the UK, it's everywhere. I mean, I think you feel it really quite acutely in Miami because, between like Miami and New York, I think they're probably the 2 most expensive cities in the US.
Yeah.
I'm sure LA probably comes in after that. But the cost of anything, I remember on our first day here, we were down on Ocean Drive, which is the the kind of famous beachfront area down at Miami South Beach. And we had breakfast, just the 3 of us, before you guys arrived. And it was $145. And that was like, okay, buckle up. This is what you're going to pay.
And if you like your wine, the average bottle of wine I saw to buy in a restaurant, again, an average restaurant, you're looking minimum $70 to $80.
And that's, kids, why you shouldn't drink, because you'll get rich.
No, that's why you should prink.
What's prink?
Pre-drinking.
All right.
So you have a few drinks in your hotel room. That's what we were doing. Because down the liquor store, it's cheap as chips in the liquor store. And you have your few drinks, and then you can all you need then is a glass of wine rather than that $70 bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, always prink responsibly. And never in your own room, somebody else's room, because they'll trash it. But we got caught there, which was quite weird, in the snow in New York. So it went to minus 12. And it didn't feel like minus 12. We were just saying, it's not that. It's probably because you're still in a city, But I've never seen snow come down so fast. Like 1 minute we looked out the window and there was no snow. 3 hours later we looked out the window and there was 6 inches of snow. It just blanketed completely. Now obviously they were ready. The city didn't close down. They had the snow plows out. They had everything going. Our problem was our flight from Newark to Miami was cancelled. But you were saying that that's a regular thing in Newark.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a big problem. So anybody who wants to fly to the US, avoid Newark like the plague, because they've got a shortage of air traffic controllers.
Right.
And they can't recruit them. They can't get them in. And if you've been through Newark,
It's very
awful.
old-fashioned.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's awful.
So the cheapest flights to New York go through Newark, but that's because you don't really know if you're going to be able to actually get there. So you've a good chance of being diverted. You've a great chance of being cancelled. So JFK is a much safer place to get into. But I think the contrast is great as well. Like we were in Hamburg for Christmas, and again I think it got down to like -8 or something.
Yeah.
It didn't snow. It snowed there subsequently. But then, we flew from Hamburg back to Dublin just to change our suitcases, and literally we had 10 hours in Ireland, and then flew to Miami. But then you get off the plane here and you come into the heat, and it's so good. I mean, it just has a massive impact on how you feel, how you see the world. I found it really exciting to be here. I mean, I'm not a big sun person, but I like even just being in the shade and seeing the blue sky. It's so nice.
I found it very exciting to land in Knoxville, Tennessee. So we had to fly from Newark to Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. 3 hours stay, and then down here on Allegiant. It's sort of it's a Ryanair type. I'd never seen or heard of it before. Allegiant. I have to say they were lovely planes, quite cheap, but really nice airplanes, brand new. And when you land in Knoxville, so it's in Tennessee, North Tennessee, every second guy is wearing a cowboy hat. It's the cowboy boots everywhere. It's hi honey, how are you? When you're in the restaurant, it's just weird that we were in that bubble for 3 hours. The only thing around, apparently it's a huge university town, and it's got one of the biggest stadiums. But the only other thing around was Dolly Parton land, Dollywood.
I'd love to go to Dollywood.
Dollywood, yeah.
I'm a big Dolly Parton fan.
Well, I brought the brochure. Maybe we'll do it next year.
Yeah.
And then that was really weird for 3 hours, and then we flew into Fort Lauderdale. That was just crazy.
And Fort Lauderdale was, tiny in comparison to Miami. Like we flew into, everybody was flying to Miami, so Miami and Fort Lauderdale were absolutely packed because it was New Year's. Everybody wants to come down to the party capital of the US. So all the flights were absolutely jammed, and you were lucky to even get in, to be honest, because it was a pretty good chance you wouldn't even get in.
See, I don't know if there's many people from Knoxville coming to Miami. I think that's where we looked out.
Yeah.
I looked in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but it was just when I walked out again, Fort Lauderdale. When I walked out to see if you were there in the car, it was carnage. It was like everyone. It was like the apocalypse. I've never seen so many cars screaming, beeping, screaming, people shouting, bags going over. It was just.
But I loved it though, because I can then scream and beep and shout at people as well. I quite like hanging out the car window, hollering at people and waving my fist.
Yeah, there's a thing in the States that you can use the car horn for anything.
Yeah.
It's just there, so just use it, because all night you hear it.
Yeah.
And then you land in Miami and you find out that it's exactly as expensive as New York, if not more expensive.
I think it's probably more expensive. I think, in terms of, Miami has changed so much in the past 5 years. If you go back to Miami in 2019, it was kind of a cool place. People were coming down to live, etc. But when COVID came in, and one of the things that Governor Santos did from a Florida perspective was he basically encouraged people to leave New York en masse,
right,
to come and live in Miami. So he offered huge amount of incentives from a tax perspective, and people left. And also, if you were kind of libertarian and you weren't really going to sign up to the mask bans and all that kind of COVID stuff, Florida was the place to come, because there was no masks, there was no nothing. Plus, it was warm, so COVID just didn't spread the same way, and people came down here.
Tell me about the tax. Were you saying there's zero tax or almost zero tax?
Yeah, so Florida operates like a tax haven.
Right.
So especially if you're you've got a lot of hedge funds and stuff that operate now out of Florida. So the kind of financial services market in Miami is huge now. So as
you can see it being built as well. When we were driving into South Beach, it's like a mini Dubai being built. That's all financial buildings.
That's the whole financial district.
Yeah.
So there's a huge reduction in terms of of tax. And the thing about America is that if you're wealthy, like if you're making more than $300,000 or $400,000 a year, your effective tax rate is really quite small if you're in the right state.
What when you mean small? Is it like 2%, 3%?
Well, yeah. I mean, if let's say you're worth 10 to 15 million, and you can take most of your income from dividends in companies, you'll pay maybe 2% tax.
Is that why Trump lives here?
Well, principally, what's one of the big reasons why a lot of people live in Florida. People came here traditionally to retire because it was cheaper from a tax perspective, but now Santos has changed it so that it's just cheaper to live here. New York is quite heavy on policing people who try and move between the two. So if you're spending too much time in New York, they'll want to tax you in that state.
I wonder how the new guy will do. Will he do anything? Mamdani, the new New York mayor we were just watching yesterday on television.
Yeah, I think
I sort of like him.
Yeah, I think he's nice.
I think if Bernie Sanders, I don't know if Bernie Sanders has any children, but I think if he had his own, that'd be. He's very, very Bernie, isn't he?
Yeah, he is Bernie, but I think he's come to power on the basis of change, right? And I watched the speech yesterday, and you see kind of reminds me of Obama, kind of reminds me of Tony Blair. I think you always have, these great moments where people feel that they can change the system, but the system, unfortunately, is so unyielding in its behaviour that there's very little you can do. I mean, if you think about Trump wants to change the system, I think he's unquestionably changed more things than any politician in the modern era. But I also feel that, unfortunately, rightly or wrongly, you get a lot of people who come into politics on the left who are there for people power and then find money power.
They have a huge housing crisis. Who doesn't? But that was really interesting listening to him. He actually did the press conference in an abandoned subway. And this is one of these subways that is owned by one of these companies that has now gone into liquidation, that the city council are going to try and take over because apparently there's a whole bunch of these buildings, apartment blocks that have gone into bankruptcy, and they're auctioning them off. But it's another company, that's another slumlord company coming in to take them, and he's saying they're going to step in and try and. So that'll be interesting to see if they could do that. Even if it's that, or the fact that they had some people talking about the appalling conditions of some of the apartment blocks, and if they can even get some level of accountability from landlords in that respect, there might be something there. I mean, he seems to be popular among the general population, that are working hard and not getting paid well. But it'll be interesting to see. You don't have faith. I think he'll do something. I think he'll
he'll probably do something, right? But I think
I think he might help a bit of the housing crisis if he does what he says. And he has this new guy now, or this new girl that he's brought in, and she's basically the czar of the housing executive, and she's going to hold all these slumlords accountable. And
But you have to say, okay, how likely are all of those folks together? Let's say he's got 50 people, and there is a wall of money that wants to stop them, right? So there's criminal elements to this. So there'll be death threats and all kinds of stuff, and then there'll be money, and most of them will be corrupt. Most of them will take bribes.
But if that's the attitude, then nobody tries.
Well,
you have to try.
No, everybody tries,
Yeah.
but time and time again we see corruption. Like it's happened in the
I mean,
Labour government.
Yeah.
It's happened in the Obama government. I mean, Obama came to power. Yes, he was a great president at times, but actually he killed more people as a president than any other president.
Well, he
in modern
personally didn't. We'd like to state that now.
Through his orders. And
I'm going to follow this guy. I like him. I think some of the stuff he was talking about, if he can't do it, even if he can do half of it, even if he could spare. How long is the mayorship in New York?
It's 4 years.
Is it?
I think, yes, potentially you can, right? But even if you think about it, like in an Irish context, I do think that we can change a lot of housing policy if we really decided to do it.
Yeah.
But principally, we have to be able to afford power to a local level. Now, if you look at social housing in Ireland right now, councils outsource social housing to commercial entities who then build the social housing, right? So how is that going to help anybody?
Well, that's in Ireland.
It's the same here.
Yeah, but I'm saying in New York they have already all of these, and we've seen them when you're driving around these apartment blocks that are basically falling apart and are not being dealt with properly by the landlords. And if there's just a certain level of accountability from the landlords who haven't been brought to account up to this stage, then maybe there'll be change. Look, who knows? We gotta wait and see.
But I do think if you bring some sense of local councils in Ireland or the UK, where instead of outsourcing this to industry, right, which is only ever there to make a profit, instead you bring it back into control at a local level, and you start building houses, like governments start building houses or start building apartment blocks. Until that happens, none of this will ever change.
That's how we did in Dublin. If you look across at Walkinstown, Kimmage, Drimnagh, Crumlin, if you look at the council houses that were built in the 50s and the 60s, it was all built by the government. And I don't know.
I think we'll have a massive economic correction anyway that'll fix it all.
Oh, there we go again. Prediction 2026. So, I suppose for if you're coming over, I was reading somewhere that Miami obviously, or Florida has obviously been the retirement capital. And if you are thinking of coming over and retiring here, probably every second corner there's a funeral home. So they have you covered. I've never seen so many funeral homes.
Yeah.
Like they're just everywhere. So clearly it's a very older demographic and they have you covered.
And it's expensive. If you want to get buried and go through a funeral in the US, it's going to cost you about $25,000.
I read somewhere else the second most popular place for Americans to retire to is Kenmare.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
It was a National Geographic.
So after Florida, where there's probably like 1 million people a year, there's what, 750,000
Maybe not the
going to
second most
Kenmare?
popular, but a very popular location to retire.
But a very complicated location because you've got to navigate visas. Americans can't get visas easily.
Half of those old geezers are Irish though.
I suppose if
They
they
went
get them through some kind of historical path.
They probably went over as Irish. They built America and now they're coming back to Kenmare.
I think Terry, you should test that theory on Kenmare. Give us some stats on
Stats down the
people
bottom of the screen
retiring to
there.
Kenmare.
I'm actually sweaty. Look at that. Because I'm sitting. The sun is right on my neck.
Are you happy at the moment because you can see yourself in the camera all the time?
I'm not really. No. There's a lot of hedging.
Colm wants a camera,
A monitor
in the studio so he can actually see himself all the time.
We are available for all types of sponsorship.
Water.
I love this. Sorry, we bought that. Where was that? But it says it's from Fiji.
Yeah, but this is probably one of the most expensive water bottles that you can buy in the world now. Fiji water, and they actually export it from.
Do they
Fiji.
actually export it from Fiji?
Yeah. It's bottled in Yagara in Fiji.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they fly it all the way.
So it's the biggest export business from Fiji. My son spent 3 months living in Fiji in the summertime, and the Fijians do not get access to this kind of stuff, but we buy it everywhere else in the world.
One of the things on New Year's Eve, I don't think I've ever spent New Year's Eve outside of Ireland. And if you're coming to Miami, we went down to South Beach for this is a bit of a holiday tip, travel tip for New Year's Eve, and we went to the Palace Drag Queen show. It was just bonkers. It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good. I thought it was a great setup. I mean, we wanted to go somewhere to find a bit of a vibe. We have Holly and Alex and Luca and Beatrice with us. So we've got Luca 18, Holly's 26, Alex is 32, and then us old farts. So we needed to try and find somewhere that there was a bit of a vibe and it was interesting. So we weren't all just kind of sitting looking at each other, having dinner on New Year's Eve. And I generally go to bed at about 9:30, so I needed to find somewhere.
Sorry, it was 7:30 one night.
Yeah, I was preparing for New Year's Eve. And we went down to this place. So I'd seen it a couple of days before. We were down on the Strip, and I saw the afternoon show, and it was so cool. And then we went down, and they had, it went on for 4 hours. I've never seen anything so professional.
But then went on till 4 a.m. if we wanted to stay there.
Yeah. You could stay, and it kept going. But I thought it was a really good setup. And then even where we were sat in there, and you pay tickets to get in, there was a couple of hundred people just outside looking in
at the show.
That the whole show was so vibrant.
It's well worth going to see. I'm sure there's a great show. Obviously, that was the New Year's Eve show, but I'd say any Friday or Saturday night, they have a brilliant show as well. And that Ocean Boulevard, there's a hotel, and it's where Al Pacino and Scarface went in to murder somebody down the alleyway, Tony Montana, and the car is out the front. Did you see him?
Yeah.
And Al Pacino is sitting in the car, a model of Al Pacino is sitting in the car. You can get your picture taken beside him. And also about 2 more hotels up was the hotel where they filmed Birdcage with Robin Williams and Gene Hackman. And that was a great movie as well. But it just, that whole area feels like a movie set.
And the Versace mansion is there
yeah.
as well, where Versace was shot outside. Now you can go in and have lunch there.
Yeah, you can have a Versace lunch. You can murder a good meal.
Yeah. I think they probably murdered a good meal before they serve it up to you, but yeah.
Yeah, and you can see the gate is there that he was stepping onto Ocean Boulevard.
Yeah.
Like, it is a really cool strip. But the one thing we've talked about security, the one thing about New Year's Eve, obviously, there was a heightened risk of any terrorist attacks, I suppose, in any major capital in the world. I have never seen so many cops in my life. And did you see the cop drones as well?
Yeah, there was so many cop drones, and there was a tank.
There was a tank, yeah.
Like, it was literally, I've never seen anything like this, but they do police at a level that we don't really get to see in Europe. But I think, look, in one way it was kind of like you were a bit apprehensive when you see it, and then another way you're thinking, well,
slightly reassuring.
It's kind of reassuring too, because anybody else who was thinking about doing anything nefarious is obviously going to think, wait, don't know if I want to give this a go.
Well, you certainly weren't going to get a car down the road, because every road was blocked off by at least 3 cruisers, cops everywhere, barriers up, drones flown around. And there wasn't any trouble. And then at midnight, an amazing firework display, and everyone was in great form. I think everyone felt quite reassured that there was such a display of cops around.
Yeah, I agree. It was good. But I think, as we kind of, consider where we are and it's New Year's and all that kind of stuff, what are you taking into 2026 in terms of, resolutions? Have you kind of got anything that you think you want to do in the next 6 months?
Yeah, I want to do so many things, This the last 2 weeks was a nice way to just clear my head a bit, and to get a bit of perspective on where I'm going and what I'm doing. Obviously, the last couple of months were a bit of a challenge. I think it's like everyone, healthier, definitely healthier. Get it, we're doing work on podcasts, we're doing work on our studio, to throw ourselves into that completely, or for me to get involved in that.
And what does healthier look like for you?
Better than this. Getting back to the gym. I'm signed up for the Ring of Kerry. I think Alex signed me up for the Ring of Kerry, and just getting back to the gym.
And when are you going to do the Ring of Kerry? When's that?
I think that's July. When's the Ring of Kerry?
4th of July.
4th of July?
I think so.
Yeah, that's good to be down here on the 4th of July. That's one day around the Ring of Kerry. So I have to get the bike out and get that sorted out. What resolutions do you have? Because you're very fit. Do you have any resolution getting unfit and drinking heavily?
No.
Oh,
no.
We were all hoping that by the pool.
Yeah, no, that's not that won't happen in reverse. So I've given up sugar.
Have you?
Yeah. So I'm trying to not eat any.
Well, did you take much sugar? I wouldn't have seen you as a sugar person.
No, but I would have like eaten. I would have eaten chocolate. I would have eaten pasta. I would have eaten sweets. I have got like a bit of a sweet tooth, so I'm off sugar, and I'm using, if anybody's ever used it before, the Alan Carr method. He's the guy who does the.
Don't tell me he did How to Give Up Smoking.
Yeah.
How to Give Up Drinking.
Yeah.
And now he's on How to Give Up Sugar.
And I first did the audiobook on smoking in 2014, and I quit. I've never smoked again. And then in 2015, I did drinking, and I've never drank again. So I haven't
read the book yet, folks.
So I did sugar, and
he's done a full book on sugar.
Well, it's neuro-linguistic programming, right? I mean, like I studied the kind of the psychology of how it is. So I'm very aware that what the book is doing is just help me rewire my brain and my relationship with it. But sugar is a drug, like alcohol or like nicotine. But I think I'm day 3. I feel good.
Does that mean no more chocolate?
No. No more chocolate, no more sweets, no more rice, no more pasta, no more potatoes.
Alex.
No
No more potatoes?
No, I'm going to try and cut it all out. So any starchy carbs, I'm trying to kick as well. So I want to try and lose about 4 kilos.
Jesus, I'd say you lose about 14 stone. So what are you left eating? Like
Everything,
wood?
like, everything else, like nice, natural, kind of healthy food and stuff. So look, that's my plan, and I kind of feel pretty motivated about trying to do it. But
it's like something somebody would give up for Lent.
Well, yeah, but it worked with cigarettes and it worked with alcohol, so I think it's naturally going to work with sugar. I'm probably I would say in 2025 I was on average about 88 to 89 kilos, and I'd normally be kind of 83 to 84. So I'd like to kind of reconnect to that weight.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that refined sugar is going to be the part to help me get there. So I don't know. I think it's nice to try and, like, I'm not big into New Year's resolutions and all that kind of stuff, but I've wanted to do this for the past few months, and it just feels like a good time. So I'm going to give it a go. And look, here it is. I'm putting it on the podcast. So there's a level of accountability, and it's hard. I mean, I love chocolate and sweets and crisps and all that kind of stuff, but it's gone.
We're going to keep you really on wraps about the sugar now. I think this is good.
Yeah,
When he does the book, giving up drink and giving up smokes and giving up sugar, does he just interchange those words for each book? But it's the same policy.
It's exactly the same policy.
It's
So
just muscle memory, or not muscle memory. It's just training your brain.
So, the key principle of it is that it just sets out the reality of your relationship with it. So first and foremost, it's helping you understand that you're an addict, right? So you're addicted to the need to have whatever it is, the alcohol, the nicotine, the sugar, right? So that addiction is there. So the first thing is that it's kind of bringing you to that level of going, okay, yeah, I'm an addict. I'm taking this, and I need to stop it. You also then start to notice behaviors around how you feel. So, sugar for me is, if I eat fast food or I eat chocolate or I eat crisps, I always regret within like 20 minutes to an hour afterwards that I ate it. So when you start to notice that you have that level of regret, there's a slight tinge of shame to it for me, and I thought, okay, that's weird, because that's exactly how I used to feel around nicotine or alcohol.
But sometimes we need treats. You've just changed your treats. So, like, for a lot of people, that burger is the treat, or that donut is the treat.
Well, yeah, but it's also a question of determining how you want to be or how you want to live. Like, I think treats can be however you want to shift life. For me, getting out, having a nice walk, being in the sunshine, sitting down, having a good conversation with somebody, I think you can reclassify it. Like, we've often conditioned ourselves, and we condition ourselves from a very young age to think, if I'm successful, if I do something good, I should have, a beer, or I should have champagne, or I should have wine, or I should have chocolate. But that's because you're conditioned to feel that way. And then when we commiserate, I need to eat because I feel miserable, so I'm going to eat chocolate, or I'm going to drink beer. But if you separate out the emotion, you don't need it. So I can only speak from personal perspective that it just becomes a non-negotiable. Like, it's easy.
I still think little treats are nice every now and then. And that's I think I think it's nice if you're trying to achieve something that, I suppose goals are different for everybody, but maybe if you reach that goal, then you can treat yourself to something, and that's like almost, the treat is almost like an award. But then your award is different. Your award values are different. Well, some other people might go, you know what, I'm really going to enjoy having a couple of glasses of wine in 40 days' time. But if I think to myself, now I'm going to give it up for the rest of my life, I'm probably going to drink tomorrow night. So it's a different sort of...
But also, I think a lot of people can have that level of intermittent alcohol consumption, right? Like, my wife is a good example. When she did drink, she would drink like that. But for me, when I was drinking, it was probably, I would say, every day, and I would drink too much. So, I kind of looked at myself at 40 and thought about how I want to be in my 50s, and I realized that alcohol was putting on weight. Also had anxiety the next day because you have the horrors on the back of having hangovers. So I think you from a personal perspective, when you kind of question how you want to live. So for me, if it's like sugar, I know that I can be quite an absolutist and I'll have too much of it. In the same way, I smoked too much and I drank too much. And the seesaw effect is I enjoy living too much. So I don't want to put stuff into my body that's toxic and is killing me, because I felt like shit when I was drinking and smoking. So I'm just trying to transfer a bit of that into sugar and see how that feels.
Interesting.
So yeah, look, I'm gonna give it a go. I don't think that everybody has to give up in that way. Not at all. I think you just have to kind of do a bit of self-examination and feel like, okay, can I have that relationship where I can have something infrequently, but if it's frequent, then I need to stop, and that's just kind of how I feel about it. But it's not for everybody.
I feel like I'm a war correspondent in the jungle.
There's parrots and everything.
Parrots and the view from behind. It's like I should just disappear. It's like David Attenborough. You'll see, it is actually like a jungle. Right.
So there we go. New Year's resolutions. America's expensive, and it's nice.
That's what I meant to say before. If you really did want to give up drinking or reduce your drinking, come to America.
Yeah. 'Cause you'll definitely want to stop here.
$17 for a glass of wine that's that size is just crazy. Yeah. Okay, so please, this is the first one. No, it's not the first one we've done abroad. We did one.
We did Spain.
Yeah. So, but this is Miami, folks. Welcome to Miami. Please like, subscribe, do all those bits and pieces.
And share. Tell us what your New Year's resolutions are. What are you going to try and do? What goals? What are you setting for yourself? That's hard. And don't be shy about whatever that is. What's hard for one person is very different than what's hard for another person. So let us know. Share it. Tell us on socials. Send us a message. We'll hold you accountable.
I think we're going to hand back to Terry and Rebecca in studio. Terry, will you check that stat that I put up, that Kenmare is the second most popular?
2 million people returning to Kenmare.
Yeah, because I've heard recently the traffic is crazy in Kenmare. All right, thank you.
Well, I'm really happy to see that they're having a great time. I'm really delighted for them. They seem to be really living it up together. I wonder, would they come home ever? It doesn't seem like they're leaving because they're having such a good time. I'm not bitter at all. Terry's not bitter at all. We're really happy here in Greystones. Is really warm and cozy in the studio. Do join us on the after show where things are kind of back to normal on Sunday, but really glad to see the lads are having a ball.